I mean, I'm sure at some point in the show I will be rambling long enough for you to get up, go grab the jersey, put it on, and then come back. So I got you covered at some point. You just got to time it well.
Right there. What's up? Oh. You know, honestly, what's new with me? It's we've been on a hell of a roller coaster. I don't know if did I have cats the last time that we... Okay, I did have cats. Avocado and papaya, yeah. All right, so the cats are not new, but like, what have I been up to? A lot. Like these last 2 weeks actually feel like a blur. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. Just been kind of going through life, going through the motions. I've gotten into Fallout. That's what's new. I'm on a new Fallout kick. I watched the show and then I immediately went to I bought Fallout 4 like for its initial release way back in 2015. Literally stayed up all night playing it before like school, like back then. It was like literally I was so into it, and then I got back into it again. Right now I'm doing a barbaric sort of run through where I've just maxed out my strength and endurance now. I've got the Grognak costume, and I am just, literally tearing Raiders, Synths, and Super Mutants apart like no tomorrow. It's a great time. So I'm all the while listening to good old classic jazz. I loved it. I thought it was honestly a really good encapsulation of like kind of what the Fallout universe is like. And I love Lucy. Ella Purnell, I think, needs to be a part of every video game adaptation possible, because she was also the voice, or is also the voice actress for Jinx, which we all know she did a great job in Arcane. So yeah, I think I really, really think that we need Ella Purnell in just everything.
Agreed. Ooh, same. I'm only two, but yeah.
I did not know this. Yeah.
Listening to, I think. Let me think. So I just finished Apothecary Diaries, which is actually quite a cute, fun little show. Have you been watching that, Curly?
Oh yeah, I finished it a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I'm a little behind on it, but I thought it was actually a really fun show. I liked it a lot. Let's see. I'm trying to think what else. I also just finished Fallout, which I really, really enjoyed. Movie list is off the charts. I just saw League of Ungentlemanly Warfare. That was really, really fun.
Do you have, bunch of the AMC thing, right, or whatever it is?
So it's the equivalent of the AMC thing. But we down here in Texas, we have Alamo Drafthouse. I don't know if it's
we've got Alamo up here. We love it.
You do too? Okay. But yeah, we have the Alamo Drafthouse version of it. So basically, literally, Joss and I will just every week it's like a new movie. Like, what do we want to go see this time? What are we going to go see this time? So like, it's kind of nice because it helps me like fill out my movie list that I like doing at the end of the year, and it gives me like
season pass thing.
Yeah, and so it's literally one movie a day is like the maximum, which is fine.
Gosh.
But like, it's $20 a month. So literally, I could go see 30 movies in a month or 31 movies in a month.
Yeah,
like it's hella worth. So if you're a big movie buff, and you like going to the movies, I would highly, highly recommend it. It's so good.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I've just been watching a ton of movies lately.
Okay.
The only other thing I'd say I've been dealing with is a raccoon in my chimney, which I finally got out today, which that's been fun to deal with.
Yeah, that sounds like a blast.
Dude, the raccoon endeavor was a very fun check-in on the Discord last night. Like every time I looked back, it was something new. I'm like, this is a saga. I'm loving it.
This thing was huge, by the way. This thing was like, I'm not even joking. I think this was like a 30-pound raccoon. This thing was massive. Which, I mean, I guess, like, that's saying everything's bigger in Texas, like, stands true, but holy crap, I've never seen a raccoon this big. It was impressive.
Did it leave on its own accord, or did you, like, have to fight it out?
So, what I ended up doing was, because it was sitting, like, if you look down my chimney, and it was sitting on top of the flue, not flute, flue. Spelled that wrong earlier. And what I ended up doing was, I ended up taking the poker, and just banging the crap out of the metal underneath it. It scared it, and eventually I just kept peeking my head outside my window to see if it would pop out, and it finally popped out and ran off.
Perfect. I think that's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, you know, like, you do what you got to do, and at the end of the day, it's gone. So, you know, it's a big win.
Texas House Adventures with Knox. It's fun. You never know what's going to happen.
Yet another episode. It's perfect. Love it. All right. Well, MSI is right here. It's right around the corner. Crazily enough, if you can believe it. First match is morning of May 1st, Wednesday. If you are in Eastern Time, FlyQuest and PSG Talon get the first game, first best of 3, at a crisp 4 a.m. Eastern Time, 1 a.m. Pacific Time. Gotta love those China international tournaments. You know, it's just impossible to watch for us NA viewers.
You know, I mean, I feel like the Midwest is going to have it worse for this one because, like, 4 a.m., you can just justify getting up really early for work. You know?
Yeah.
But 3 a.m., dog? Knox, I assume you're not going to be watching any of that.
I'm not waking up live at all for any of these. I'm sorry. I'm very happy and proud that FlyQuest is participating internationally for the first time in 4 years, but I ain't waking up for you at 3 a.m. It's not happening.
Basically, all we can hope for is that they land, like, on days 3 and 4, they land, like, that 7 a.m. Slot on days 3 and 4. Here's what I think. I look at what areas, like, each of these teams are in. I just feel like not as many people are going to be watching Estral Esports, maybe, as, like, NA is going to be watching FlyQuest. Put FlyQuest in the 7 a.m. spot, not T1 Estral Esports. And then the other one, on Thursday, Fnatic GAM, like, Europe's 5 hours ahead. So, you know, like, that one's fine. It's at 9 a.m. And then Loud, the Brazilian team, they get the 7 a.m. spot. Like, that's much better for the Brazilian viewership. So, I don't know. I think it's an anti-NA conspiracy to prevent us from being able to watch what's going on here. All right, so we're going to be just breaking down MSI with all of our beautiful, uninformed opinions. We are going to do a live tier list where we're going to take each team and debate it live here for you all. And then we will post our tier lists on Twitter after the fact. But let's first start with the matchup, I think, that is just right up front. FlyQuest versus PSG Talon. We're all in this pool together. PSG Talon, for those of you who don't know, forgive me for pronouncing any of these screen names wrong, but we've got Aji in the top lane, Junja, Jungle, Maple, who some of you might remember, in mid, Betty is bot laner, and Woody is in support, and then FlyQuest, you know the drill. Boppo Inspired, Jensen, Masu, Busio. Maple and Betty, Maple obviously very familiar to old-time League of Legends esports fans. Betty has also seen international tournament experience before. Ashi and Woody are newer names for me. Junjia sounds vaguely familiar. But
Ninja was on EDG for a short time, I think.
possibly. It might be a name that's like similar. I can't quite recall.
No, yeah, he was.
That's the case.
So it's a weird. If we're looking at it, it's a very strange history. He was the jungle for EDG from February to December of 20. Then he was on their youth team from December of 20 through June of 21. Then he was a oh my gosh, what's it called when you're the other option? I'm blanking.
The 6-man,
Yeah, but
the sub.
yeah, there we go. He was a jungle sub for EDG in 2021 summer through December, and the same thing. And he was also for their 2022 Worlds appearance, the sub. My goodness, I apologize for that blank. Anyway,
that's all good. So we've got this PCS team that they started in the bracket stage for PCS playoffs. Took down Beyond Gaming in a 3-1, and then took down SoftBank Hawks 3-2. Took down CDBC Flying Oyster 3-0, and then again took down SoftBank Hawks 3-0 in the finals. So fairly strong throughout, beating some of the other teams. And to be fair, those two teams they beat at the end, Oyster and Hawks, the number one team in PCS and LGL respectively. PSG Talon, regular season-wise, was not the number one team just in terms of standings. They were number 2. So they managed to make it through anyway. I do get a bit of a kick. I can't believe that the LCO team, Ground Zero, actually made it, actually won a best of 3 at one point. That's kind of crazy.
Well, to be fair, it was versus the number 3 LJL team.
Yeah.
So
yeah, but still, I mean, some of these LGL teams actually can do some.
Well, I mean, SoftBank Hawks, or SHG, whatever their full name is.
Yeah.
I mean, they made it to the finals versus PSG. Like, if this was Worlds, like, that's a Japanese team that's at Worlds via the PCS. Like, they're there.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So this is who we're going up against. Day 1, 4 a.m. on Wednesday, like I mentioned, and then the winner takes on the winner of T1 and Estral Esports, and I think we're going to breeze right by that one. I think we all know who's taking that. So let's focus in on FlyPSG.
Josecito.
Yeah, absolutely. Tukey taking that one home. 2-0, easy.
So, for fun fact, there is currently only one prediction in the new Pick'ems, which, by the way, hey, I'm doing a FlyQuest Pick'ems. You should go join that in the FlyQuest Discord. There's only one person who's actually picked Estral to win out of the 25-something responses so far.
Oh my goodness!
And when Estral wins Wednesday, they'll be the most incredible predictor of all time.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's dive into FlyPSG here. And I also want to set kind of like the expectations here. And I think we can use it by first saying, what are the expectations versus PSG? And then more broadly, what are our expectations for MSI? So let's start with expectations for MSI, just in general. Nox, I'm going to come to you first. Where are you landing? What would be like success in your book for this MSI run from us?
It really depends on. So, no matter what, I think bare minimum is you have to make main bracket stage, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is a requirement, and I think that'll be a baseline of like, okay, I think you made you got your participation award, good job. past that point, I think it really depends on what the matchups turn out to be like, right? Because you're gonna get one of G2 or BLG or Gen G.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, that's a 33. Like, if you get G2, I expect you to be putting up a fight, right? That is a very, very winnable matchup. But say in the off chance that you run into Gen G or BLG, well, then unfortunately, you're going down a loser bracket, and hopefully you run into either NA. Well, actually, I don't think it can be an NA team due to the new rules. So I think it has to be an EU team at that point, hopefully. And that I expect should be also, you should be either winning that or making it very, very close. Past that point, like I don't think we take a game off of any of these Eastern teams personally. I don't think it'll happen. So I'm really just looking for us to could have put up a good fight versus EU.
Okay.
And if we both do good enough, I want revenge versus TL. That would be sick. Imagine beating them on the MSI stage. That would be awesome. I would love to see that.
That would be great, dude. That would be
good.
amazing.
That would be pretty good. Curly, how about you? Where are you landing in terms of expectations?
So obviously we got to make the main stage. Got to make bracket stage. So that's going to happen. Firm belief in that. And the biggest thing is I want to make sure that if we face G2 or Fnatic, we need to beat them, which means we need to make it to at least round 2 of the losers bracket. In like worst case scenario, I could see, best case scenario, I could hope for us maybe trying to get round 3 at the minimum, you know, especially with that hypothetical of if TL has similar success to us. But the biggest thing is like, as long as we don't lose to EU, no matter where we land, I'm personally going to be very happy with that.
Yeah. I think I'm pretty much in similar boats as you guys. I think, for one, I would personally consider success to be like getting out of this play-in stage, which I think is pretty feasible.
Oh, yeah.
I think beating PSG is feasible. I would then expect to lose to T1, but then, I think beating the winner of Estral and PSG is also very, feasible. So I feel pretty good about getting out of plans. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think the play-in, it's not like the groups, switch over. Like, the winner of losers bracket Group A plays the loser of qual match Group B, right? It's you only play those 4 teams. I think people were like, oh, FlyQuest got the draw of death getting T1. Well, I mean, on the other hand, Top Esports is in Group B. It's like, I don't think this was going to be a winning group, no matter what you were, what group you got put in. At the end of the day, I expect things to pretty much go to chalk here, and I think it should be T1, FlyQuest, Top Esports, and Fnatic, right? Getting out of play-ins and moving into bracket. But again, I think, winning, beating PSG, beating whoever wins between Estral and PSG, making out of play-ins, and then when it comes to bracket, I mean, it'll be interesting because, there'll be some interesting possibilities. Fnatic and G2 could be opponents in bracket stage, and drawing either one of those is certainly easier than beating one of the Chinese or Korean teams. I frankly don't expect us to win a best of 5 in the bracket stage, but I'm looking for a competitive best of 5. I'm looking for it to be strong. I'm looking for us to make them work for it.
Where's the faith, bro?
I just not against BLG and Chovy. How about that? So
maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but versus G2.
Yeah.
What are your chances? Just give me a percentage. What do you think the percentage chances?
20, 25, 75 for us. Us getting 25.
For the whole series or a game? Just for clarification.
For the whole series.
Okay.
I think versus Fnatic it's higher. I think it's a lot more even versus Fnatic. God, I would kill for a Fnatic draw. Oh! Oh, yeah, I would do some unholy things to draw Fnatic in the bracket stage.
My goodness.
Oh
My
man.
goodness.
Local DC man finds sacrifices outside of his apartment. Who
Yeah.
do they come from? Don't know.
Wow, where'd these come from? Yeah, I think Fnatic's a much easier opponent than G2 will be. I don't say that because I think G2's invulnerable. Having watched a decent amount of LEC, like there's some avenues that you could take, but I just don't think that we have a very strong shot at stringing together 3 wins against G2 right now. Ultimately, and this comes to like a bigger point for me, I want this MSI to be a really big learning experience for us. Because
Yes.
I'm already, like, not that I'm already looking past MSI to Worlds, but I kind of am. And I want to see us pick things up here that we can take away, go into summer really strong, crush summer, which, we already crushed spring pretty hard. We just kind of faltered at the end. Learn a lot, and then charge into Worlds with a lot of good momentum. And just really, really perform at Worlds. Take down some EU teams, surprise a low-tier Korea or Chinese team, things like that. That's what I'm looking for ultimately.
It's kind of funny how different the expectations would be if, say, like Cloud9 was in our place instead of us. Like, for them, with how their roster was made up, it's like, no, I expect you to be winning, right?
Yeah.
I expect you to be making, like, deep runs. With us, because we have a very, very young bot lane, it's like, this is not what our peak will be. Like, I understand we're probably going to come on the international stage, and it's going to be a learning moment for both of these guys, right? So I really want them to like just learn. Like, you're gonna get stomped, you're gonna get rolled. It's okay.
Well, that's a really good point. Like, and I want to ask both of you: do you feel that? I feel like a lot of people are just writing FlyQuest off. Do you think that is helpful, where there's like not a lot of pressure on this team to perform like incredibly well? Like, if it's Cloud9, it's like, hey, we expect you to maybe beat T1. Like, frankly, I think the Cloud9 fans out there would be delusional enough to say, if Cloud9 had performed and won spring, all those fans would be saying, hey, we can beat T1. We can take them in a game. We can maybe get them in a best of 3. I'm seeing none of that discourse around FlyQuest, right? All the discourse,
I think it's probably...
Yeah.
I was gonna say, I think it's probably beneficial for Masu and Busio. Mm-hmm. I don't know how like much social media they actually read or how heavy the burden of expectations are for them, but for them, I would imagine it's like, okay, no one really like believes in us to like really go far, so there's not a lot of burden to like perform. So I think it actually kind of helps that everyone's ranking them low. So when I rank later on, you'll understand I'm doing them a favor.
Curly, what were you thinking about it?
I have firm belief in like these players, and then another thing is like it's been a month since we've seen their gameplay, and they've been training that whole time. They've been practicing, doing the boot camp over with FearX before heading in, and like I firmly believe that because of how this team has like seemed to function behind the scenes, and their ability to address problems when they do come up, is like whatever energy was around us the weekend of finals, I don't think it's there anymore. And I like high key believe that we are the better of the NA reps right now. Like, again, it's been a month. I haven't seen what TL's been doing behind the scenes either, but I believe in our ability to come back and push harder. And I actually have, I don't think having low expectations is actually doing them a favor, because I think they should be motivated to achieve what is better. I don't think any like player who really wants to prove themselves should be satisfied with like, being underranked or having low expectations, especially because of a consistent thing that like Bwipo would talk about and other team members is how motivated the team was throughout the beginning half of the season. And I don't think I heard about that as much towards the end, and that's when things kind of started to fall off. But like, if that's the case, if they're able to get that motivation back, they're going to be trying their damnedest against T1. And you know, they overperformed in spring, and I'm not saying right off the bat that we are going to beat T1, but like, they're not going to lay down easy. They're not going to just sit back and take it. It's not going to be like game 2 of finals. Like, they've been practicing a month, and I'm sure they've like put whatever effort into making sure they are stage ready. And every game should hopefully be a banger.
Nox, what do you think about that?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's also good to have that mindset, right? Like, you want to come in and you want to just show the world, like, hey, yeah, like, we are not to be, like, forgotten about or swept under the rug. Like, yeah. I do get that. I think I mainly made my statement just because I remember when, one of the very first interviews that Masu did, and it was on, like, only on the FlyQuest Twitter, because it was like Park Mom just filming on his phone, but he was like asking him how his first like series or first games went on the LCS stage, and he just made the point of where just like, I got really like nervous and I was kind of still like shaking a little bit and like kind of getting the jitters out. So it's like, I know based off of that interview, like Masu does get nerves, and so for that reason alone, I just kind of was basing it off of like, okay, yeah, you get nervous and that's fine. So any less expectations will help in the sense of like, hey, you have less stress on you, right? And you have less stress, you should be able to perform better.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, I think this is, like, again, I think this is a real opportunity for there to be a lot of learning, a lot of growth. What I appreciate is that we have two, and if it looks like I'm crying, like, what... We made
Does the curry get into you?
Like, no, there's like onions floating around in the air, and I'm like literally every so often just like the onions hit my eyes, and I'm like openly weeping on stream right now. So
he just loves FlyQuest so much, and he just
God,
wants to
guys,
do it so
passionate.
Inspired is he's such a good jungler, guys. No, speaking of inspired, I do think that something I'm interested to see is like the veteran leadership from the top side, and how that plays into helping keep Masu and Busio stable. One thing I would really like to not see is our bot lane feeling like they need to like make a play to really like stand out or like, you know, leave their mark. Play smart. No need to do something flashy that, you know, winds up putting you in some bad positioning and you get caught out and, you know, then the game's over because of that. You know, I just really want them to stick with what they know and let the veterans lead the way. Like, these guys have had they have championship experience and they have international tournament experience. So they should be the ones leading the way, leading the church, setting the tone for how this team is going to operate. So I'll be really interested to see how that works out. Curly, to your mind, like, what do you think having Bwipo and Inspired and Jensen, right, at this international tournament does for kind of like the mental side of things?
I'd say in this case, Bwipo and Jensen are probably the like more veteran players in terms of international experience, because Bwipo on Fnatic made Worlds more consistently, and Jensen has been through such a like variety of Worlds and seen so many different types of opponents that I think in terms of like trying to set that expectation for what international play is like for Masu and Busio, I think they would be the better ones to turn to, because Inspired, whenever he was really at international tournaments, like, yes, he was there with EG, but he was also there with Rogue, so it was like kind of I don't know how much he takes those experiences and is able to translate that to this team, you know, because to me, the EG roster he was on and Rogue period, very, very different vibes. And so it's a bit inconsistent. But overall, I think having such like every one of those players has been to a world's tournament, has been to some form of international play. So it is very valuable for them. So they kind of already know what they're getting into.
Totally. All right. Let's move into the specific PSG matchup and just like
All
talk
right.
about our group in general. Best of 3. I think this is going to be, and I'll just come right out with the prediction. I'll drop it. I'm saying 2-1 FlyQuest. So Curly,
yeah,
you're not allowed to tell me I don't have faith. Because here I am. I'm saying FlyQuest. I'm hitting the table.
Woo-hoo!
FlyQuest 2-1. And here's why. I think the quality of play from PCS, and I also think from like Vietnam, has gone down in recent years. I don't think these teams are the like sleeper dark horses that people used to think they were. I just don't think these teams are super duper good, and I have faith in us taking out PSG talent. Now, of course, this will obviously completely backfire on me in about 36 hours or so, but that's where I'm coming at. I just think the overall quality of play from PCS is down, and I don't think PSG is what they once were. I don't think the players are there anymore. I mean, we watched Maple play, right, in the LCS. He was good, but like, do I want Maple or do I want Jensen on my team, right? Like, I don't think that he's gonna offer. I don't think he's gonna really challenge Jensen too much in the mid lane. Curious to hear y'all's thoughts on this matchup.
I'll let you go, Curly, because I'm just gonna pretty much reiterate what I talked about last week when I just kind of YouTube streamed.
All right, yeah. I mean, I haven't seen as much punching up from PCS like last year as I did years before. Because you're right, like PCS and VCS were always kind of like these surprise, might be able to take a game off of you even if you don't expect it type teams, and it's just not quite been the case. I want to say, like really just last year with everything that happened with rearrangements of like qualifying regions into different leagues, et cetera, all that stuff. I think it really kind of diluted everything. And then before, like, whenever we get to the VCS side of things, just all the match fixing stuff this year has really damaged that league as a whole. But we're not talking about VCS right now. We're talking about PCS. With Maple, yeah, like he was on TSM, and TSM played like TSM does. So all respect to Maple. I'm not expecting the most, like as much from him as I am from Jensen. And like just the rest of the board, I think we should be able to have a step up, and just be like, I don't think we should drop a game. I'm thinking it should be 2-0. I'd be a little bit disappointed if we dropped a game to PSG, if I'm being honest.
Good points.
Fair.
Knox.
Basically highlighting what I said last week, I really think this series just comes down to who's the better jungler on the day, Inspired or Junjia. I think they are the two best players on each respective team, so it's a very pivotal matchup, especially since they're both the junglers and they're the ones that are going to be dictating the flow of the game. I don't think Jensen versus Maple is going to really define how the series is going to go. I don't think Maple's going to do anything outlandish that's going to dictate the flow of the game or how things play out. And vice versa for Jensen. I don't think he's going to do anything in lane or early on that's going to really dictate how the match is going to be played out. The top side, Aji, I was actually talking to Loyoda a little bit about this, and apparently Aji was someone that he was scouting for a little bit as a potential like import a few years back. Nothing obviously came of it, but apparently he was someone that he thought he kind of respected, and so at least because I went and watched the PCS playoffs between PSG and SHG,
Yeah,
and like. He held, and because we all know who Evie is, right? Like the most renowned LJL player there's ever been. Came over and played in LEC for a little bit. Did fairly well into Evie just fine, right? And so I think in general that particular matchup in the top lane versus Bwipo should still be in Bwipo's favor. I do think Bwipo's still the better top laner, but I don't think Bwipo's going to have an easy time per se either. So I expect Bwipo later on, obviously, to have his way in terms of like disrupting game flow states as he normally does in the LCS. But I don't think there's anything in lane that's going to really like throw him off either. But maybe not the exact leads that you're going to be hoping for. And then I think the big question is their bot lane, right? I mean, Masu and Busio, they've had some great moments in the LCS and they have some really bad moments in the LCS. Kind of just depends on which bot lane shows up on the day, right? I will say Betty is someone I respect a lot as an AD carry. He's not obviously in terms of international prestige anyone to really like talk about, but like he's still solid. He's still renowned. He's one of the more known PCS AD carry players there is. And so I think if you're not careful around him, he will absolutely check you and he will absolutely punish you. Woody, I don't know nearly as much about. I wasn't overly impressed with him while watching the finals in PCS, but he had some okay plays too. I really think the FlyQuest bot lane is more volatile. If the FlyQuest bot lane shows up on the day, I think the series is a 2-0. If they don't show up on the day and they're just kind of there, whatever, I think Inspired should be good enough to still lead this to a 2-1. Even though Junja is also really, really good. I have to emphasize that. He is a very, very good jungler, and you should be very scared of him. But I think Inspired is still an A-tier jungler at this tournament, with a lot of good junglers here.
Well, your last point there, does the bot lane show up on the day? I mean, that was kind of the thing with throughout all of LCS playoffs, too, and kind of the LCS season, where it's like, if the bot lane did not die level 1, things were generally pretty good. And the games that we struggled in were the ones where they died early, or they got pushed out of lane early, or they lost a few waves early, and Inspired has to come down and cover for them, and he can't affect the rest of the map, right? He can't get Bwipo ahead, he can't get Jensen ahead. So, which I think comes back to the earlier point of bot lane needs to stay stable. And I feel like that's where we're all like coming to as like the big point for FlyQuest in this tournament. If we're going to perform, bot lane needs to stay stable. I feel very confident saying Bwipo, Inspired, and Jensen, they're going to do their thing. They're going to be fine. They're going to play well. And, I'm not worried about them in lane. I'm not worried about them, getting counter jungle. I'm not worried about them really in any way. I'm worried about them having to cover for the bot lane if the bot lane starts struggling. And so this is a really good opportunity for Masu and Busio to step up and show that they can play stable, they can play smart, they can play safe, and not do anything too crazy. Hey, so if we beat PSG and T1 beats Estral, what's the scoreline going to be against T1?
It's an 0-2. I'm sorry, it's an 0-2.
I'm there. I'm also there. Curly, what cracked stuff are you about to say?
I can see us getting 1. It's gonna be a crazy game. It's gonna be hard fought. I can see us getting 1.
I mean, here's the thing.
Somehow, some way.
See it happening. I can visualize the moment. I just don't know frankly.
I think we're gonna be able to get one off of them. I don't think we're gonna be able to win the series, but I really, really, really think that we can get one off of them. It's just gonna it's gonna be like stars align. We get Azir, we ban Faker from the game, like IP ban him, and everything will be fine. This is pure hopium. I have nothing backing this up. I'm going to be so real right now.
No, I love it. I think that's great. That's some good stuff right there.
So what's the percentage chance of that one game happening, Curly? What would you put it at?
Oh, goodness. You want me to add stats to this?
Oh, well, I mean, it's a made-up stat, but give me your stat. What's the percentage chance?
Oh, goodness. I'm going to say 35.
35%. What would you put it at, Sandy? For one game off of T1, what would you put it at?
15%.
Oh, man, I was hoping you would go a little lower. Now I have to be the doomer. I was going to put it at 7.
7.5?
You know, I'll be generous. I'll give it 7.5% of taking a game off of T1.
Yeah, you know. Yeah, I just don't see it happening. And then, you know, probably in the run back versus PSG, again, I expect them to... Or versus Estral. Who knows? Estral could surprise and take down PSG.
I would love for Estral to surprise, because then that means Jose Dioto gets a matchup versus FlyQuest. And I think everyone just has a fun time with that, right? So I really hope that happens.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. Okay, I think now we're going to turn it over to the fun part of the night. We're going to do a little tier list making. And Nox is in the wrong camera space.
Oh, hello.
So hang on, everyone's
gonna. Oh, that means I slightly misaligned things. That's my fault.
No. It means the camera has Nox in the Curly spot.
I was you for a second.
And Curly in the Nox spot. So all right.
For once in my life, I had truly fabulous hair. It was a beautiful, beautiful moment.
All right, so here we go. We're gonna do a live tier list. As I pull up the window here. Let's get this.
Where do we want to kick it off with? What team do we want to do?
I think we want to... Is this visible?
Not yet, or at least not on my screen.
Hang on. I don't know why it's not... Oh, here we go. Ah, yes. Excellent. Booyah. We got it. Ladies and gentlemen, we got them.
We got it.
Okay. Tier list time. Make this a little bigger. Nothing like that scuffed.
Well, clearly we have to save the best for last, right? FlyQuest, we'll see the best for the last. We'll save them for last.
FlyQuest goes in last. Okay. So let's start from the right. Then we'll start all the way with Loud on the right. And, you know, these will probably get adjusted as things go on. But let's lay some ground rules. So there's, you know, a bunch of tiers. There's S plus S, A, B, C, D, E. I always do it that left to right is same. In order of power on that particular tier. So the furthest left is like the B plus, and the furthest right is like the B minus team. Loud, I'm going to start by arguing that they should go...
Is your Portuguese bias about to start coming through here, Sandy? Be honest.
S plus.
I mean, honestly, like, if we're being real,
I'm going to argue like, C, but probably low C, but, like, I'm going to argue C.
I'd say C is a good benchmark for them. I think Loud, personally, for me, is, like, as an org, I actually am really impressed with them. They're a really, like, top-tier Brazilian org. They run a good ship. They've got a good presence in all of their leagues. And, like, when North America was hosting Worlds, they had a pretty good run.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. And so, assuming, like, that they hold themselves to a similar standard, I could see them performing like pretty well. So I could even go as far as to put them like in B tier if they really step
Whoa.
it up.
Yeah, no. I think it's a little much for me, but
So I was going to be on the opposite end of the spectrum, and I was going to argue that they should be in D tier. I don't think they're
Oh.
deserving of C tier.
okay.
But I mean, and granted, so you all three of us can debate, right? I'm going off of what my already pre-made tier list is.
Yeah.
And so like majority will place it in the majority, right? Unless I think one of us places it way different,
Well,
and then maybe we like average it a
think-
little bit.
I think the average is like C, because Curly was like saying C, I was
Yeah,
saying low
so-
C, you were saying D, so probably that low.
It'll
C.
yeah. Well,
All right.
we'll put them in at C.
So we'll start with them at C, and then we'll figure it out from there. All right, top esports. The number 2 team out of the
Honestly,
LPL.
E tier.
E tier? Hmm.
So they're interesting because, like, I don't know. Like, BLG is clearly, like, for me, and spoiler down, later on, like, they're like that S plus team for me, or one of. Top, I don't think they're as good as, like, the 2 Korean teams. So I think I have them right now as like a high A.
Okay, so I also have them as a high A.
Okay.
Because I think on average, that's where they perform.
Yeah.
I will say, I think there are times when they peak and they play like an S tier team. And those peaks happen actually fairly often.
Right.
But the overall average gameplay, from my perspective, is an A tier team.
I think that's fair. Curly, where are you at on top esports?
I've got them like in kind of an S.
Okay.
S tier because like I mean like 369, Jackie Love and Mako just like they've got legacies to do.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, that's fair.
They are consistent top performers. And so I don't know as much about Cream. I know Tion's also been up there in the like high power thing, but then the thing that would probably argue towards your guys' side of putting him a bit lower is I have heard rumors of Tion kind of not always being up.
He's had some he's had some super hype plays too, but he's had a lot of questionable ones as well.
Yeah. So
I don't know. So it's feeling more like that high A, low S range.
I'm gonna say our average is A tier.
we can average it to high A. Put him
Okay.
at front of A for now.
Front of A. We'll just okay. All right. Here's a controversial one. I think Fnatic.
B tier.
Well, so like here's the
B
thing.
tier.
So now that like we're starting to establish what teams are where, like yes, they're under top and definitely above Loud, but like where on that? Like I'm
Just
kind of
solid
I'm
B tier.
I'm also in that B feel for them.
So okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be the same issue with Loud in my case, because I have them in C tier, but the average right now is going to be B. So it sounds like we're putting them in B tier.
Okay. All right, let's go B for Fnatic right now.
Yeah, Nox is very critical of everyone apparently.
So spoiler alert, and later on, I'll send you my full one. I had 4 teams in C tier.
I mean, I think that's like it depends on how you're viewing tiers, right? Like there's arguments to be made that like the teams that finished like 3rd through 8th in China are like better than, most EU and like pretty much all NA teams, right? Like
Right.
there's those arguments that can be made. So you could argue that there is a literal gap where you can do something like, you put top esports up here and then Loud down here and Fnatic like a really low C or like a high D, like because that's how big the freaking gap is,
Yeah.
teams. So I mean, I think that's worth discussing later. Is like, do we readjust the tiers later to reflect that? All right, let's move on to TL. Let's find the 4th tier down for them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh yes, B tier.
B.
Okay, yeah.
Be
All right, honestly, with that logic, I can't even argue.
Yeah, I can't argue that either. Just slap them in.
Just put them ahead of Fnatic, though.
Well, that's a good question. Who's better, Fnatic or Liquid right now?
My thing with Fnatic has always been, and this is true for every roster they have ever had. This is a Fnatic cultural org thing. Is no matter what cogs you put on there, there's a lot of times where they're not running as the same machine. It's been every roster, and so like when everything's turning at the right time and everyone's in sync with each other, they can perform really, really well. But that's just not what Fnatic does as an org. So, like, I just firmly believe in their ability to be a bit dysfunctional more consistently than TL, which is why I think TL would be ahead of them, especially because TL showed, like, a lot shorter of a ramp up, showed that they can adapt and scale up really quickly, whereas Fnatic had to take 2 whole splits to be relevant, So, and another thing is because this is such a short tournament, that ability to adapt and try to ramp up is going to be so much more valuable. So if Fnatic can't figure it out after they lose 1 or 2 games, they're going to go down. Whereas TL, as long as they keep up the same attitude they had in spring playoffs, they can make a surprise run. So I think TL should be ahead of Fnatic.
Yeah.
I agree. I think TL should be ahead of Fnatic. I will say I had TL in C tier for mine, but they are ahead of Fnatic in that. No matter what.
All right. Well, let's keep charging forward because I think eventually we're going to do another reorganization once we get through all these. PSG, I would put them in C tier above Loud. That's where I would have them, TBH, but I'm open to other suggestions.
I can see them on either side. I'm seeing C tier.
I also had them in C tier, but this one was the one I was heavily debating whether I should have them in D tier or not. I ended up putting them in C, but at the very back of my four-man roster of C tier teams. So, yes, I have them above Loud in the C tier at the very back.
Yeah. Okay. Everyone's feeling C. T1. Now, here's a question. Do we want to stick with this S+, or do we want to just, like...
I kept the S+ personally.
I think S+ is good. Okay. So, for me, T1 is an S tier.
I agree.
Yep, 100% I agree. They're S tier, but they're... So, for me, like, the way I define S+ is you are the favorite or favorites to win the tournament.
Yeah.
I don't have T1 as a favorite. I expect them to do well, though.
Yes. Yeah. And, like, for me, like, Gen G and BLG, I'm going to argue for them to be the S+ teams. Like, that's my argument right now.
Yep. So all right, same.
So, speaking of Gen G, S+, anybody?
S+.
All right.
S+, agreed. All right, cool. They're a favorite to win.
All right. GAM.
I had these guys in E tier. They are, in my opinion, the worst team at this tournament. I don't think they're going to do well.
Well, yeah,
I was kind to them, and I put them in D tier, but they are also the only team in D tier.
I would argue... Did you say E, Nox? Because I think I would agree.
Yeah, I put them in E.
I think they're going to get absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to put up much of a fight whatsoever. I know Fnatic in their inconsistencies or whatever, but I don't think this is a good team right now.
Yeah. Curly, I mean, how do you feel about that?
I'm not going to die on that hill. If you want to put them in E, that's understandable.
Cool.
Like, either way, it's the same result. They're at the bottom of the list.
Okay, Estral. All right, so here's an interesting question. Because I would put them in D tier. But that means I think that Loud is... So that means I think that Loud is better than them, as is PSG. But would I put Estral in a similar... like in the same tier as Loud and just move Loud? Does that make sense?
I mean, I think D tier is a fair thing.
Like, definitely better than GAM, but I don't think they're going to be better than PSG or Loud.
I think Loud is a tier above Estral. Like, I no matter how you chop it, I think Loud has to be a tier above Estral.
So then I think you put Estral D, right?
Yeah.
yeah, for this play, for this tier list, yes, I had him in E above Gam, but
Woo!
Oh
For-
wow,
I mean,
Nox, you are
I will make
so
the argument.
hard.
I'll make the argument that Estral, a team that like has been competing together for a hot second now, is going to be way better than Gam's subs team.
yes, for sure.
So I think
if I'm being honest, I should have made an F tier in mine and put Gam there. Is what I should have done.
that's funny.
But I was too lazy to add a tier. So
all right,
My
I'm gonna
goodness.
skip BLG because I know we're putting them in S plus, but I want to get to that.
I
Debate
mean,
in a
I
second.
only have them as an S team. I'm gonna be real.
Whoa!
I know. For once, Curly doesn't have full faith in China to win everything.
All right, hang on. We'll come back to them in a second. All right, G2. Very.
C tier.
What did you say, Curly?
I joked. I B tier actually.
Oh, B. Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nox.
yeah.
Where are you at on them?
I also had them in B tier. I had them alone in B tier in mine, but they were in B tier at the very front. I think they are the best Western team that is going to MSI currently. Which it does not instill a lot of faith in me for the West, because G2 has shown a lot of inconsistencies while playing over in the LEC. So when G2 is playing well, and this is kind of the same statement that I made for Top earlier, where I said when Top is playing at their best and they're peaking, they're an S tier team. I think when G2 is peaking, they are an A tier team, right? And so, but their average, I don't think is A tier. I think on average they're a B tier team.
I'm putting definitions in each tier.
Are you?
S tier,
S tier's
will
favorite.
go far.
A tier is
like
like,
it, I like
can
it.
make some noise. I'm gonna go down to E is like enjoy the flight.
Enjoy
the
flight.
Damn.
D,
I mean, hey, like
D is Tukey tier.
Okay.
C is
Better luck next year, kid. I don't know.
C is
congratulations, you tried.
Yeah, is C tier like the participation award?
yeah.
Oh man.
And then B tier is like
Best of the West.
We'll get them next year, guys.
B best of the West.
We'll get him next time. I mean, here's the thing. I could firmly see us, the way that we've been doing this, I could see us putting all of the West teams in, or like NA and EU in B tier together. Because that's what it looks like is happening.
I think that's what's going to happen. Let's do BLG. I have them S plus.
Right.
I have them as a favorite. I think this team's
I have them winning the tournament.
Yeah.
I only have them as S, bro.
You don't even think they're going to make finals?
They could. I think that depends a lot on how the brackets shake out. But yeah, like I don't know. It's funny because BLG for me, their last two international tournament showings, it's like it's always start strong and then get tripped up at a very random moment, you know. And I know they just confidently won LPL, so maybe I'm being hypercritical of them based on past, but yeah, I think they might start out strong, but like the second they trip up, I don't think they'll be able to recover far from it. I think the best they can achieve is probably semifinals, unless the brackets work out perfectly.
Would you be comfortable putting them in that like favorites tier, but after Gen G? Because I think that's kind of where
Absolutely.
Because like Nox has them winning. Like if I had to predict a finals, I would predict Gen G BLG, but I don't know who wins. And then you've kind of got them under Gen G, so like I feel like that lands them in the middle there.
Here's the question for you then, Sandy. If this was just your ranking, who are you putting in front, Gen G or BLG? If it was just your ranking. I'm forcing the hard questions.
There's like I could there's like a couple weaknesses on both sides. The bot lanes for both teams I'm not in love with.
Wait, you don't like Elkin on? I think they're the best top lane or the bot lane in the world right now.
I think Jackie Love and Mako are insane. If Jackie Love's playing correctly and not going for a flashy out of position move. No, I think I take Gen G. The Canyon Chovy combo has been too good. Yeah, I've still got Gen G, I think.
Okay. Well, I will be the sole LPL representative because I think BLG is taking this whole tournament. I think Elkin on are just so freaking stupidly good that no one else in this tournament is going to be able to like stand a chance. I mean, like Jackie Love and Mako are good, right? Yeah. But I think they're just too good. They are too good. Like if I could have an S++ here for bot lanes, I'm putting them there.
All right, FlyQuest. Where are we going? Where are we dropping?
Clearly S++. I actually do need you to create that tier for us if you don't mind.
Yeah. No, we are the best team at MSI. No one is stopping us. We're not losing a single game.
Because I can't be in the same tier of those other Western loser orgs. G2, Team Liquid, Fnatic. Gross. Gotta have our own tier.
Yeah.
There you go. Screen cap that. Yeah, no copium whatsoever.
I can't spell.
Dude, this is just firm belief. Like FlyQuest versus the world. We're taking it all. No one can stop us.
All right, we got the screen cap. We posting it on Twitter.
Am I supposed to make a screen cap right here?
Oh, I'm waiting for someone else to do it. Don't worry, I got it. We got it. We'll post it on Twitter. All right. And cut the tape. Okay, I'm putting them in B tier above DL and Fnatic.
Yes, as I quickly delete that row.
I have them in A tier.
Yeah, I have them B. But the problem is, like, I kind of want to make a new, because putting them in the same tier as G2, I think G2 is just way better than TL and Fnatic.
Disagree.
And this, okay, I agree, and this is why I think you should move all three of those teams down a tier.
Oh my god! So then I have to put PSG and Loud in D tier.
G2 lost to NRG.
G2 lost to NRG a year ago.
It's the same team.
No, it's
the same.
It was 6 months ago. And
so what?
NRG's not here.
They struggled in spring. How are you going to tell me? How are you going to tell me that G2 is better than FlyQuest?
Caps is the best mid laner in the West right now. Caps is probably the best player
Jensen's going to kick his ass.
Oh my god.
Whippo is going to kill Broken Blade with his own Broken Blade.
Oh my god. This is...
Yike is going to be like Yikes the second that Inspired is on the stage across from him.
This is not even, like...
And don't even get me started on the bot lane.
Dude,
Hansam is really good, I'm afraid.
If you can't recognize that Caps is, like, the best player in the West right now, like, I don't know.
Caps is...
He's so good right now.
He's great. He's amazing. He's consistent.
He's on Claps right now.
It's so boring. It's so boring hearing about Caps every single tournament.
I don't care about boring.
Caps,
I care about making an accurate tier list.
Claps. But it's wrong because it's always Claps at MSI, Claps at Worlds. And then they fumble in the weirdest way. If they lost to NRG, we are kicking their ass. I'm full sending it. The second that we see them, it is 3-0. It's not copium. It's not hopium. It is legitimate belief and assessment of these teams. I am so serious right now.
Okay, so now we're doing the entertainment tier list, right?
Here. Frankly, this is how I if you look on the stream now, this is what I've rearranged things to. But I got to get rid of the D.
Oh, pain, suffering. For any Spotify listeners, I do apologize. I can
That was
see
almost
on my
loud.
other monitor that I maxed out the decibels for a solid minute or two. Yikes.
Well, you feel better now though, Curly? Did you get it all out? It's kind of lightning, right? Like you feel a little lighter at the end of the rant.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, it's fine. It's whatever. I'm used to being the one with all the belief.
How-
You know.
How would you guys feel about this as I've laid it out right now?
All right, let's see. We got favorites. We'll go far. Can make some noise. Best of the West. Participation.
I
award winners.
still believe we're better than TL. I know we literally
agree.
lost. I think it was just bad on the day is what happened.
Yeah,
So-
I think us and TL are completely. I think we are exactly on the same level of play, personally.
Yeah.
So like it's just purely who shows up on that day, which is cool actually. I like that.
I think we still have the edge, but
no, this looks far more. The only thing I disagree with still is I really think BLG should be in front of Gen G, but it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm very amused now that you've sent your personal list in our DMs.
I mean, his personal list looks pretty similar to what we've got going on here. So
It is pretty similar. Like, it's actually like literally nearly identical.
funny.
It's kind of
funny how
kinda
that
crazy.
works. Crazy.
So Nox
All right.
is just the perfect predictor, apparently.
I think this is what we're gonna go with, if you guys concur, and I'll put this on Twitter after the show.
It's all right. I've got my own for the truly faithful.
if you make your own,
Oh, it's already here.
send it in the DMs, and I'll add it to the Twitter post. And
I did have some of our Discord members make their own earlier as well. We can grab those too.
yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is
All right.
our tier list for MSI from left to right. Who we think is strongest, except Nox disagrees on the Gen G BLG one at the very top. But favorites will go far, can make some noise. Best of the West, participation award winners, Enjoy the Flight, Tukey, and Keck W. Dude, I would put another row in between Estral and Gam. Unironically, dude. Like, Z tier for these guys. For Gam. Like, actually,
Or Gam.
I mean,
G tier for Gam.
They still have Levi and Kiaya. Like they're still.
All I'm
good.
saying, can we like force? Can we figure out a way to just get a show matchup between Astral and Gam, just so we can get Levi versus Ackerman? Because I think that's just really funny. Personally.
Yeah. I mean, hey, that makes sense. Okay. That is our MSI tier list. We will put it on Twitter. No flame, but also kind of all the flame, at the same time. So, okay. I think that's pretty much everything. That's MSI. It starts Wednesday, 4 a.m. Awful time. I'll just be real. Horrific.
Yeah.
Terrible time.
I mean, here's the thing. For me, this is actually perfect because so at my bar, it's like finals week at the college. So we're staying open late every night for people that finish their finals.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So I'm going to be finishing up, closing the bar, and I'm going to be running home. And I'm going to be watching FlyQuest play versus PSG on Wednesday morning.
Jeez Louise.
Like, that's going to be me going to bed. I love
better
my
you than me. I'll be very frank. I cannot hang like that anymore. I used to. I'm not even kidding. I would just wake up all the time before work for like these crazy international tournaments, and I would watch them at like, horrific times, detrimental to my body, and I just can't do it anymore. So it's unfortunate.
Us,
I mean, understandable.
us old men, we can't handle it anymore, Sandy.
I know. It's a sad day.
So that's what's waiting for me in 4 years.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I mean, basically, that's all you got to look forward to. Okay. Very, very briefly, because the show's been going on for a while. We do have to mention Evo Japan this past weekend. A FlyQuest FlyFighter did win their event over this weekend. That would be Tempest, who got the fat dub.
Actually went undefeated.
Yeah.
In
Guilty Gear
Strive.
Guilty Gear Strive. Some crazy stuff. Really, really great to see. Great to see the investment in these folks paying off with a huge dub. So big congrats to Tempest. I saw that they were talking about, wanting to get like the Vegas Evo title at some point as well. But, this is still an Evo event. This is still an Evo title. And just so cool that they went all the way out to Japan to play in this Evo tournament. So hats off to FlyQuest for flying them out. Hats off to Tempest for taking that dub. Huge win for them. Huge win for the org. And just like, frankly, I think this is a commentary on the org as a whole. We continue to bring in high-quality talent who perform well at tournaments, and, they succeed. And it's a really, really cool thing to see. So that is the news from the fighting games world. I think that is basically I know J-Mook was in a tournament. He made top 8 at Pat's house this past weekend as well. So there was that. He's still looking for another dub. I'm sure one will come soon. Settling into California. I know that's a lot to deal with. So we're eagerly anticipating that J-Mook pop-off moment from our Posture King. Okay. Oh God. And there's one more thing. There's always one more thing.
There's always just one more thing.
It's like the info.
But wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. Valorant.
Billy Mays here.
Valorant game. Santos Mays here. Sandy Mays. Valorant Game Changers. The team in Series 2 or Open Qualifier 2. For Series 2, they took second, losing to Shopify Rebellion in Grand Finals. Shopify Rebellion, they continue to just really have our number. They continue to do it like that. But this should pretty much solidify them in the top 8, the top 5, I think, for points for the Series 2 event. So they should be attending that, barring anything crazy. So that is great to see. Continued success from this team. Now we just got to get a dub. Now we just got to win one of these quals, win one of these series, and take it home. That would be the cherry on top for some of this stuff. All right, that is all. We've made it to the end. The end is nigh. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into another banger episode of Flight Check. MSI starts Wednesday. It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. All at 4 a.m. and 7 a.m. for your best of threes. FlyQuest taking on PSG Talon. Make sure to watch that fat dub this Wednesday. Wake up real early for that, or stay up late. And if you're staying up late or waking up early, you're going to want to turn on those Twitter notifications for all of our instant reactions and thoughts. You can catch the show at Flight Check Crew, myself at Santos DB, Nox at NoxWar with 2 R's, and Curly at Curly_QQ_. Someday he'll get rid of those underscores, but today it's just simply not that day, unfortunately.
I'll hire a PI to find Wayne and give him $500 to delete his account.
That account will be deleted. But eventually someday. Hey, make sure to hop into the Flight Check Discord as well. All kinds of esports discussion and otherwise taking place. We got some great food going on there. I posted a Steam deal that I found. So, you can get all kinds of great info. People trading, Pokemon shiny codes. People dropping all kinds of cool news. Talking sports. Talking all kinds of things.
Nox's next movie.
Nox's next movie. What he's going to go see. What he's
or
literally,
random.
what he's literally in the theater about to see, and then you can ask him 2 hours later what his reviews were.
Yes, literally, that's how it works. That is how it works to a T.
He just drops a photo of the poster of the movie he's about to see, and you get to find out, what it is next. So hop into the Flight Check Discord there. It's a great time in there. If you missed any part of the episode, the VOD will be up on YouTube tonight or tomorrow morning. If you're watching that and want to catch the show live, we broadcast the episode usually every Monday night, usually at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here at twitch.tv/FlightCheckCrew. Oh, we made it. Knox, any final
you got enough
notes,
press there?
shout-outs or plugs before we wrap up? Yeah, we're all good.
Quick shout-outs. I would say, A, shout-out again, Tempest. Big dub. Love to see it. B, FlyQuest Pick'ems are back in the FlyQuest Discord. If you want to participate, I do not have an award announced yet because I was a little slow on getting with FlyQuest staff to see if I could get an MSI jersey reserved for it. And then they sold out, which... Yeah, MSI jersey. Anyway, jersey was sold out, which is cool. That's awesome. It's a sick jersey, by the way. But unfortunately, they're sold out. There's no more available in stock. So,
Who knows? If we're lucky, maybe they'll just put it back on sale. Really hoping.
Okay.
Really hoping.
We'll hope. I'm currently working with FlyQuest staff to figure out what we can do as an award for the time being, though. So look out for the announcement on that.
Perfect. Curly, how about you? What do you got going on?
I mean, my big shout out right now is going to be to Studio Ghibli and Fathom Events because all summer long is Ghibli Fest, I believe. May even be longer than summer, but yesterday with a couple of friends, I saw my favorite movie, Spirited Away, in theaters, and it was just a really nice experience. So look into when your favorite Studio Ghibli film, or if a film you've never seen before, is going on. And I definitely recommend going and seeing it because it's a good time. All of them are amazing. Like, just 10 out of 10 top tier movies. I'm really hoping the next one I really want to see is I need to find out when Princess Mononoke is in theaters because I feel like that would be a good one. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So,
Agreed on that. All right. My shout out is going to be, hey, the Washington Nationals just had a 4-game sweep of the Marlins, bringing them to an even 14 wins, 14 losses. The season is only up from here. We'll never lose another game. Pretty good. And my other shout out is going to go to, I started reading The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss, which is such a good book. And yes, I already know that he has not finished the trilogy, and he probably never will. So, I'm just setting myself up for disappointment. But, that's just life sometimes. So.
What a Game of Thrones moment.
Yeah. I mean, it's basically the same thing. All right. We will be back next week discussing the first round, discussing play-ins of MSI. So, for now, all we'll say is stay safe out there. Bite your teeth. Don't forget to hit the head on the nail. And we'll see you all very, very soon. Adios, everybody.
Have a good one, guys.
peace, yeah.